Before we even start the meeting, we'll just do an introduction and a microphone check because there have been some technical issues in the chamber recently. And we'll just work our way around anti-clockwise. By the time it gets back to me, we'll know if everything's all right. My name's Councillor Carl Hughes. I'm the Chair of Licensing and I'm the ward member for Stainforth and Barnby Dun.
Morning everyone. Neil Wood, Councillor for Stainforth and Barnby Dun and also Vice Chair, Licensing Committee.
Myself, Dave Knight, a ward member for Thornton and Moor Ends, and also a member of the Licensing Committee.
Councillor Craig Ward, Roman Ridge.
Catherine McIntosh, Licensing Practitioner.
Hayley Oxley, Senior Licensing Practitioner.
Mark Walton, South Yorkshire Police Licensing.
Andy Petherbridge, Senior Lawyer, South Yorkshire Police.
Faye Delaney, Trading Standards for Doncaster Council, but I was formerly in licensing in this role.
Shoaib Khan, and I'm the applicant.
Steve Butler, representing the applicant.
Mary Claire Churchman, Senior Legal Officer. I'll be advising the committee should they require any advice today. Thank you.
Rachel Wright, Governance Officer.
Thank you very much. As I said, I'm Councillor Carl Hughes, Chair of the Licensing Subcommittee for today, and I would like to welcome you all to today's Licensing Subcommittee meeting. This is not a public meeting, but a meeting the public can attend. Before we commence, I'd like to outline the domestic arrangements for the meeting, if you don't mind. We are expecting a fire alarm to be tested at 11 a.m. However, if the alarm sounds continuously, please leave the chamber, go out of the doors there, turn right, proceed down the stairway and through the emergency exit on the ground floor. The assembly point is the public square in front of Cast, and that's just beyond the fountain. Anybody with mobility issues should wait in the refuge area near the lift and use the intercom to call for assistance. This meeting will be recorded and published on the council's website. By entering the council chamber, you are accepting that you will be recorded and your images will be retained and broadcast by the council. If anyone intends to record today's meeting, please ensure that this does not disturb the conduct of the meeting. Please ensure that your mobile phones are switched to silent mode. Thank you. I'll now commence the meeting. By the way, if that alarm does anything other than just gives a few beeps, I think it's on 2 occasions, then it is a fire. So if it just beeps after twice and stops, we're okay. I'll just clarify that. Item 1, apologies for absence. We've got a full subcommittee here today, so there are no apologies for absence, I believe. Item 2, exclusion of the public and press. Appendix F and G to the report are exempt in accordance with paragraph 1 of Part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act, as they contain personal information protected by data protection legislation. Therefore, if members of the subcommittee wish to discuss Appendixes F and G, members of the public and press will be excluded from the meeting. Once those discussions are completed, the public and press will be invited back into the meeting. Please note that when the subcommittee goes into deliberation to determine the decision, all public and press will be excluded from the meeting. They will then be brought back into the meeting to hear the subcommittee's decision. Item 3, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest, please?
I'm a personal licence holder. I'm also a DPS for 3 establishments outside of Doncaster Town Centre.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Item 4, now moving on to the application itself. This is an application to vary a premises licence to specify an individual as designated premises supervisor, otherwise known as a DPS. And it's at Dagenham News, 35 High Street, Doncaster, Delta November 1, 1 Delta Lima. Can I remind members that Appendix F and G are exempt, and if any member wishes to discuss those appendices, the public and press will be excluded from the meeting and brought back in once those discussions have concluded. We are here today to discuss an application to vary a premise licence to specify an individual as designated premises supervisor at Dagenham News, 35 High Street, Doncaster. Delta number 1DL. All parties who have indicated that they wish to address the subcommittee will be given the opportunity to speak. The procedure we will be following is as set out in the report. Has everyone had a copy of that report? Has anyone not seen a copy? No, good. Can I now invite the licensing office representative to introduce this item? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This hearing is to determine an application to vary premise licence to specify an individual as a designated premise supervisor for Dagenham News, 35 High Street. Premises concerned is currently a convenience store. The application is to appoint Shohid Khan as the designated premise supervisor. A DPS is responsible for overseeing the day-to-day operation of the business, particularly regarding the sale of alcohol. They act as the main point of contact for licensing authorities and the police regarding any alcohol-related issues. On the application form, it has been requested that the application to have immediate effect under Section 38 of the Act. This allows the premises to continue to sell alcohol until such time that the application is determined or withdrawn. Appendix C reflects that Shohid Khan has been appointed DPS until a decision is made. Under Section 37 of the Licensing Act 2003, the police may object to the appointment of a new DPS where, in exceptional circumstances, they believe the appointment would undermine the crime prevention objective. During the consultation period, representation from South Yorkshire Police was received. The representation is shown to members at the Members' Report Appendix F. I can confirm that the application has been correctly advertised and that the mandatory consultation has taken place. I can confirm that all the required notices of the hearing have been given and all parties have been made aware of the procedure to be followed at the hearing, both in the notes that accompany the notice of hearing and in the hearing papers. The options available to the committee when making its determination are detailed in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Hayley. I'll now ask the applicant to address the subcommittee. Whoever is speaking, please identify yourselves when speaking. Would you like to address the subcommittee?
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Stephen Butler and I represent the applicant Shohid Khan. This hearing is in response to the objection submitted by the South Yorkshire Police regarding my client's application to be appointed as a designated premise supervisor at 35 High Street, Dagenham News, Doncaster. Mr Khan understands the concerns raised under the crime and prevention objective of the Licensing Act 2003. However, I'd like to respectfully provide the following information to reassure the committee of his suitability for the role. Mr Khan has been a personal licence holder since 2007 and he was also involved in licensable activity covered by the previous Licensing Act. He has a wealth of experience. Mr Khan has previously acted as a DPS at the following premises without incident and has always worked closely with local authorities and the police to ensure full compliance with the licensing conditions and local policies. Between 1999 and 2010, he was the manager stroke DPS at Everest Restaurant in Hemsworth. 2018 to 2022, Amir's Balti House in Retford. 21 to 22, Chandelier Restaurant in Doncaster. And 23 to 24, Donny Drinks, Hallgate, Doncaster. Mr Khan takes very seriously the 4 licensing objectives, especially the prevention of crime and disorder, and he understands his responsibilities under the Licensing Act 2003. The police objection surrounds 2 issues which the police believe that the applicant displays a propensity for crime and disorder. Namely, he was a designated premise supervisor at Donny Drinks between the 10th of July 23 and the 12th of August 24. During that time, the following incidents occurred. 10th of the 10th 23, training standards inspected with a dog, illicit tobacco and vape seized. And the 1st of the 8th 24, it was a failed test purchase. Mr Khan was interviewed in relation to these incidents, but no further action was taken against him. He retained his personal licence and no prosecution was made. Mr Khan has no relevant convictions in relation to the Licensing Act. Section 182 of the guidance, which was updated in February of this year, refers to when the police may object to a serving DPS or the designation of a new DPS. And I would like to respectfully draw your attention to section 4.69, which refers to the circumstances surrounding that objection. The words give rise to exceptional concerns. 4.71 of the guidance goes on to say the portability of personal licences between premises is an important concept under the 2003 Act. It is expected that police objections would arise in only genuinely exceptional circumstances. There are avenues for Mr Khan's personal licence to be suspended or revoked. That option was not explored, and as I've mentioned, he was not prosecuted for any offences. Section 4.69 of the guidance gives an example of when the police could object where they have exceptional concerns. For example, where a personal licence holder has been allowed by the courts to retain their licence despite convictions for selling alcohol to children, which is a relevant offence, and then transfers into premises known for underage drinking. That may be considered exceptional circumstances. In view of this, I would suggest that the threshold for exceptional circumstances in this case has not been met. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr Butler. I'll now ask the subcommittee members if they wish to ask any questions in relation to what you've just heard. I'm starting with yourself, Craig, if you... Thank you. Councillor Knight.
If I may, how long, may I just ask, have you been at this particular shop working?
The 35 High Street?
Indeed, sir.
Yes, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm opening a lot of shops at the moment, so it's just this in particular one is about 3 months. Yeah, it's about 3 months.
Obviously, I'm concerned, obviously, about the record here that was for an inspection on the 16th of the 10th, 23. Is that anything you might be aware of, or have you seen the inspection and aware of it?
Yeah, Councillor Knight, that was at Donny Drinks, a previous location, not at the premises that Mr Khan's applying for the DPS. But he was the DPS at those premises, and I think that's the subject of the police objection, that he was the DPS at those premises when those took place.
Sorry, Mr Khan, sorry, I'm obviously concerned, obviously, about the sale of particular items that should not have been available on sale within the premise, and concerned about the future on this, obviously. Can you comment on this, please?
Well, I have, as Mr Butler just said, I have been a licence holder for, or a DPS for many, many years. My speciality was always restaurant trade, licensing along serving in restaurants. This was a new venture for me. Vapes, cigarettes. I've not done this trade before. I am doing it now, and I've been doing it 2 years, so I'm experienced enough now. But at the time, for the last 20 odd years, I've never had any problems, never served after time. Absolutely 100% worked with it. So I'm not new to the licensing, but I was new to this sort of like the off-license trade, not the before it was a non-license. So obviously there's no excuse. I should have known better, but it was new. Now it's a different story completely. The vapes law has now come in 1st of June 2025. It's now a lot clearer what is allowed to be sold and what isn't. At that time, it wasn't as clear. I still should have done my sort of research and my homework, but now it's 100%. This is what you can, this is what you can't. It was very confusing before, but that's all I can say, really.
Thank you for that. And I appreciate that there was a lack of clarity in the outset over the vapes, and that obviously was a concern that hopefully has now been rectified, which I'm pleased to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you.
But the other thing that does, just in the back of my mind, does come is, are your suppliers aware of what they're supplying you? Are you being supplied by legitimate suppliers for these types of items?
So this was the issue before. So Manchester is known for selling dodgy vapes, which is what my supplier was before. Which again, I got told from all the people who, when you open a new business, you approach people who are in the trade already, and they were all advising me, Manchester, Manchester, Manchester. After the last meeting I had with the, it wasn't Favours there, it was either like, what was it? Karen. With Karen. She sort of said to me, well, Manchester known for that. They all do dodges. After that, I then started looking at alternative sort of suppliers. Now I use Gene Image, again, which is in Manchester, and he swears by and shows me all certification, everything is fully legal and above board, and that's the only supplier I use now. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And it just, from our point of view here today, is we need to be satisfied that for the future that we're safe and the people of Doncaster are safe, that the products are on sale and you're doing it in a legitimate manner, whether it be alcohol, vapes or any other product. And you take good care and ensure that you're not selling to the wrong age group either. And now that brings me into the age group. And how do you ensure that you cover the age group, that you make you're providing the right goods to the right people?
Firstly, it probably doesn't make a difference here, but I've got a 17-year-old son. So I look at everything I do in business, always from a personal point of view. I wouldn't want to do what would be done to me. Never. So I wouldn't want my 17-year-old son. Now I'll look at things that obviously at the 25 age restriction, we've got signs up. And if they look anything under 25, we'll question it. Again, in the restaurant trade, it was slightly different because you could give an underage alcohol as long as their parents was buying them. So it was very confusing at the time for me to go from that life to this one. But I've definitely done my research and I've looked into it a lot more. So all I can say is I promise there won't be any sort of mishaps in the future. I do look into things when if I make a mistake, I don't bury my head under the sand. I look into it, what I've done, how I've done it, and try and rectify it.
Thank you. Can we change the subject for a second now? Do you now have on display your licensing summary, or the licensing summary of your license? Is that on display in the premise?
Yes, that's on display in the premises now.
And now have you covered the aspect of also the health and safety aspect within the shop for, e.g., first aid requirements or fire requirements within the
fire
premise?
requirements, there's fire extinguishers on the premises, the CCTV at the premises covers outside and inside all angles.
Thank you, sir. I'll leave that with you for a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Chair. You said there that you're opening lots of premises at the moment. How many premises are you looking at?
At the moment, I'm on. I have a shop on the marketplace, 43 Marketplace, which is Addictions, which sells. These aren't all licensed premises, by the way. I don't apply for licenses, all of them, only certain locations. So this is Addictions 43 Marketplace, which I sell. I'm a DVLA registered number plate maker, toys and vapes. And at the moment, I'm opening a new premises. The signs are up. I should be open next week, which is opposite Dagenham News, which is better for me because I'll be concentrating on them two shops. So at Donny Place, I'll be 50% of the time, and I'll be at Dagenham News because they're literally opposite each other. Again, Donny Place is opening on 8 Hallgate, which will be concentrating on, again, number plates, health products, and vapes. But I won't be applying for a licence on that premises because I don't feel the need to have another licensed premises quite close to the other one. So it's not all about alcohol for me, but in certain locations it's important for the business to survive, and I believe Dagenham News wouldn't survive without the alcohol licence. Thank you.
So you're basically saying that half of your time is going to be assigned to both of these businesses. So there's 3 businesses. Which one are you leaving the marketplace one alone and not having out to do with that? Which will be selling vapes though. But the 2 opposite each other, you're going to be concentrating on spending most of your time, if not all your time there.
The vapes are coming out of Addictions on the marketplace. So I'm going to concentrate on toys only there, and that'll be staff run. Vapes will be at Dagenham News and Donny Place, where I'll have access to. So I've already removed the vapes from Addictions, 43 Marketplace. At this moment in time, there's only toys there. This was this week only.
I'm confused. So, forget about what we said before, starting again. Marketplace, we're selling plates and toys. You've just said we're not doing vapes. As of now, you've got 3 business interests. One in the marketplace, does driving number plates and toys only. So we can ignore that one. The other two businesses, which are directly opposite each other, are going to be doing the licence, what we've got here for alcohol and vapes and whatever else you've got in there. And the other one is going to be purely vapes, toys, no toys, and number plates. That's fine, thank you.
Yeah, that's correct. Just vapes and plates at Donny Plates, and alcohol, vapes and various bits, chocolates and sweets at the Daily News, and toys only at Addictions.
Mr. Khan, I want to concentrate on the actual role you're wanting to perform, which is designated premise supervisor. The biggest part of that is the last word, supervisor. I think some of the issues you've faced in the past can be directly related to lack of supervision. Do you agree with that?
I don't know about lack of supervision. I think it's lack of knowledge at the time, not lack of supervision. It's very difficult, as the gentleman next to you said, he's a DPS of 3 premises. I'm sure he supervises well, but can he be at them all the time? Not. But I do try my hardest. I don't think it's lack of supervision. I think it was lack of knowledge of the product at that time, which, like I said, I've now rectified.
Do you want to knock you? Once again, what all I'll do is come back to you with the fact that a lack of knowledge ignorance is not an excuse to failing in things. Yeah, you're provided with training. You have to pass some training courses to become a DPS. So to say there's a lack of knowledge, I know on past experiences, it was because there was such a long time before when you last took your the exam for DPS. That's still not an excuse. Obviously, we can tell you're more up to date on legislation because you've quoted some of that to us, Mr. Khan. So I can understand that. But obviously, what we want is assurances that your supervisory skills are at a level that we want. Yeah. What action have you taken since 2024 when it seemed a lack of knowledge was the problem? What remedial action have you taken yourself to rectify that, please?
Firstly, is location. Like I said, to be closer to both premises. The future is to only have 2 shops, which will be directly opposite each other, so I can supervise it a lot better. My home duties are a lot less now, so I don't have to concentrate. I can concentrate more on my business. My children will now be homeschooled by my wife, so there's no school drops or anything like that. So I can give more time to my business, more time to looking after and supervising. Knowledge-wise, constantly reading. When it comes to training, there was actually never any training given on the sale of vapes, which was the main issue previously. The selling of vapes and the what was allowed, what was legal, which is my responsibility, I understand, totally. But there is, with the DPA, when you go for the licensing courses, they tell you about licensing, alcohol, age, restrictions. They don't talk about vapes. There's no training out there, so it's all self-taught, which again, it's my responsibility to do so, but there's no training out there, which maybe is something that the government should look at training on that, but that's it.
Chair, can I just come in, please? I have had discussions with Megdad Eslami, who's the premises licence holder, and Mr. Khan. We are going to train the other staff that are in the shop, and we're happy. I think that conditions can be added to the licence at this, should you feel that's appropriate. And if you wanted to insist that the person licence holder was on the premises at all times, we'd be happy to move forward with that. The other staff are going to be trained to that level to obtain a personal licence. So should Mr. Khan not be totally available, or he's in day-to-day control and management, there would be a personal licence holder on the premises at any time alcohol was being sold.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Obviously, it's not just, and I'm not going to delve too deep into what's in here, but obviously it's not just the legislation surrounding vapes that was the issue. It was the presence of other items on the premises that was an issue as well, also including other things other than vapes. How can you assure us that's not going to happen again? And things like test purchase and that type of thing, what level of supervision can you put into place that you're happy as the supervisor that your staff are going to be able to pass such things as test purchases which might come your way?
The only thing I can go by is my history. My history is 100% before this incident. For 20 odd years, it's a long time not to have any incidents with regards to selling anything illegal or that shouldn't be on the premises. It has happened, obviously, as test purchases have been made. All I can say is, what can I do to ensure that? Is be more hands-on, totally 100%. There's not much, but again, like Steve just said, training and making sure the staff aren't doing it without my knowledge, again, is an issue at a lot of places. I'll make sure that doesn't happen by doing my checks. I've got CCTV on my phone now, 24/7 on both, so I can see what's going on live on my phone on all the premises.
And my last question is, how confident are you that you could, if we were to impose a condition as proposed by Mr Butler, how happy are you with the restrictions that cause you to have to be present there whilst you're selling alcohol? How confident are you that you'll be able to fulfil with that restriction in your life?
Just to clarify, Chair, that wouldn't be the DPS president, it would be a personal licence holder on the premises at all time. So if he wasn't there, there would be a personal licence holder on the premises. Did I confuse you there? I apologise if I did.
Oh, no worries. Thank you for clarifying that. Any more questions from the subcommittee? Okay, we'll move on.
So after the test purchase, what actions did you take when you failed it?
After the test purchase, after I was made aware of the test purchase, the CCTV was already present on the premises. I made sure that was put onto my phone. I called somebody, I don't know what he did, so he got to my phone so I could see what was happening 24/7. So if I wasn't present, to make sure I could see what was happening.
And did you do
and obviously everybody who comes in who's working for me at the time after that, to make sure, just to basically give them full training.
So did you also do the same at all your other premises to make sure that it weren't going to happen again, or have you done that since?
Yes, at the addiction one, I didn't feel it was necessary because I was alone there most of the time. But now all staff are in place and training is fully given.
So you was actually running addiction by yourself and having staff in your other business. That's what effectively was happening.
For a short period of time. Not anymore. I realised that that's not the way forward. I need to have staff running and go be at as many places as I can, which is why I've chosen the two to be opposite each other.
So when you said not all the time, when the test purchase were made and you failed it, you've said now that you're taking vapes out of your store in the market hall this week. Why didn't you do that immediately when you failed the test purchase before?
Why didn't I take the legal vapes out or the illegal?
What I'm saying to you is that you failed a sale. I'm not talking about whether it's illegal or legal. I'm on about you failed a sale. So what I'm saying is that whatever you were selling to anybody, regardless of age, you have your obligation to make sure that it's not sold to children, under 18s, whatever that rule is. Vapes, as I understand it, you can't sell them to anybody. So my question is you failed a sale to somebody underage. Why didn't you take the same attitude to your addiction store when you immediately when you failed that test purchase? Why has it took you so long till now to decide that you're not going to be selling vapes?
I'm not selling them at addictions because I don't feel there's a market there. There's 10 vape shops on that road, on Marketplace Road. It's not to look at the public, it's a business decision to take the vapes out of there, not because I think there's going to be something wrong. It's been there over a year now. We've had no issues at any of the premises. So it's a business decision, not a decision to take anything out. Sometimes it's business. You make decisions on taking things out and adding things. That was one of the decisions I made.
I think you're missing my point. My point is, as a responsible person who's applying for a DPS, I'm asking the question, why did it take you so long to implement changes to your other businesses when you failed a test purchase in one of them, you already been identified of having a weakness in your system. Why didn't you take the actions prior to this week? Why weren't they activated when you failed your test purchase? Why weren't you more proactive in making sure that today you could turn around and say, right, I've already took steps to make sure the changes are implemented so this never happens again in any of my stores?
I am misunderstanding the question. I still don't get it 100%. There was no issues at any of the premises. The issue was at just the one. There was no need to make changes anywhere else.
So you're saying that the things that you were doing in the other stores were working, you were confident they were working. If somebody from the council had gone to any of your other places, they wouldn't have failed a test purchase, you're confident of that, yeah?
I'm confident that there was no issues to be changed at any of the stores, apart from that one. This is why the biggest issue is like the staffing issue, which I addressed straight away. The staffing issue at the other shops were 100%. It's just this particular one where there was test purchases. Test purchases possibly were made at the other ones, and I'm sure they were. I've just not been made aware of them. But I've never had, like I said, it's just new to me. I've never had any issues anywhere else with the council or with the law, so...
Right, thank you for that.
Thank you for that. Any other questions from subcommittee? Councillor Ward, any more questions or no? Councillor Knight, no. Okay. We'll move on slightly. I'll now ask the interested parties if they wish to ask any questions in relation to the applicant's submission.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just one from myself arising from the evidence that's been given this morning. Mr. Khan, when you was asked the first question about the committee, in terms of how long you've been at the premises, you mentioned that you're opening quite a few shops. Is there any intention for you to be opening any other shops in the future at the moment?
Right at this moment in time, no.
No, okay. And you've made reference, as I understand it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, to being involved in 3 businesses, those 3 shops which have been discussed at some length here. Are you involved in any other businesses, either as a director or managing those businesses?
At this moment in time, there's no active role. I'm not active in any other roles, just these 3 businesses.
So just to be clear, you're not running any other businesses other than the 3 mentioned?
I'm not running any of the other businesses.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, thank you.
Thank you. I'll now ask the interested parties to address the subcommittee, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. It's quite clear from the question and the evidence given that you've got a clear understanding of what it seems to be what the police's objection is here, or the basis for that. So I won't labour the point too much, other than to touch on what the police say are the relevant points here. First of all, I would just concur with the point made by my friend and that of Ms Oxley, that it is the bar here is exceptional circumstances. We need to show there is exceptional circumstances as to why this application should be refused, and it probably comes as no surprise that I'm going to say there is exceptional circumstances, hence the reason that we are sat here today. But if I just expand on that a little bit, there's a number of issues in premises that Mr. Khan has been involved with previously, and we say they are relevant because it was only last year and the year before, and he was in a position of responsibility. But just looking at the vapes and the illicit tobacco, really serious matters, and I probably would expect that is not lost on anybody here in terms of that. But just to be clear, in terms of what I would submit as a point of law, when it comes to a review, which is not what this is, it's a different application, but when it comes to a review, the Section 182 guidance states that if illicit tobacco is found on premises, committees should be, in the first instance, even if it is the first instance, considering revocation. Now, that in itself, I would say, supports what Parliament is intending in terms of exceptional circumstances. It's a very serious matter. So that's the first point. The second point is you need to make your decision based on evidence, and evidence comes along in a number of ways. And I'm grateful for the information provided by the applicant, and it's obviously for yourself to decide what, if any, way you attach to that. A lot of that evidence I would submit has been talking about learning lessons and going forward, which is fine. And the police are always pleased to hear that from any applicant. But what you've got here, I would submit, is evidence from the police in terms of not only there being problems on premises that Mr. Khan has had a position of responsibility in, in fact, being the DPS in, but I would submit being given the opportunity by responsible authorities, in particular trading standards, to rectify this. And I'm quite concerned, and or the Chief Constable is quite concerned, and I'll go into more detail about this, that Mr. Khan, I would submit, in fact, sits in front of you and says, well, I didn't really understand things, and I've learned my lesson now. It's a very valid point that the committee make, that ignorance is not a defence. But as we go through the timeline, Mr. Khan has been spoken to before about illicit tobacco, and a week later, there is a field test purchase. So that goes to the point, I would say, that I would invite the committee to tread very carefully in terms of accepting the evidence of Mr. Khan wholeheartedly, that he will change things going forward. So I simply outline that to say there is exceptional circumstances here, and there is real concerns by the responsible authorities that if this application is approved, it would be of a detriment in terms of the crime and prevention of crime objective being undermined. So if we look at the incidents at the previous premises, I'll take them in order, and there's been discussion around the vapes and the test purchase, but one thing that has been disclosed, and apologies, I don't have a paginated bundle, but there's this document here, which is a checklist, which has been done for a visit, I understand, by the local authority, and it is dated, I believe it was 16th of October 2023.
We've not had access to that, I don't think.
It's the... I think we did have one.
This document has been disclosed within the... No problem, thank you very much.
If I could, Mr. Bull, you might not be aware, but they've just turned the recorder back on. I don't think you saw that.
No particular questions, no, thank you, but I've got a conclusion. Does it come to me at the end for the conclusion? Thank you.
All parties now have the opportunity to address the subcommittee to summarise their submissions. I will now ask the applicants if they wish to summarise their submission, as you were going to do. Thank you.
Thank you. In conclusion, you've heard from the police regarding Mr. Khan, regarding his wealth, or you've heard from Mr. Khan also regarding his wealth of experience in the licensing trade. He has learned from this and has developed his skills and knowledge. He has explained how he is to go forward. The police paint a poor description of Mr. Khan, but may I reiterate that no prosecution was forthcoming from Donny Drinks in relation to Mr. Khan. Mr. Khan was not brought before this committee to revoke his personal licence. Like I say, he's learned from this. He now only sells lawful items. He has a hands-on approach at the premises and will ensure that these premises are operated within the Licensing Act. The sales of vapes and cigarettes does not come under the Licensing Act. We're talking about the sale of alcohol, predominantly under the licensable activity. Again, Mr. Khan has no relevant convictions. I would urge you to consider the guidance in relation to give rise to exceptional concerns. I'd respectfully suggest that the police have not made this threshold, and as such I'd ask that the variation for the licence is granted. Follow on from the legal advice there about conditions, I wasn't aware of that, but should you decide to grant this variation, we would apply for a premises variation to insist that a premises licence, personal licence holder is on the premises at all times if you're not able to invoke that condition. And that's all from us, thank you.
That's all noted, thank you. I'll now invite the interested parties if they wish to summarise their submission, please.
Yes, Chair, thank you. So, as has been set out, the position of the Chief Constable respectfully is that this application is refused. I would submit that the threshold for exceptional circumstances has been met, and given ample reasons as to why that is the case in the main body of my submission. Comment made by my friend that the police paint a poor description of Mr. Khan. He's entitled to that view, but what I would submit is the evidence that the police have put before the committee today is factual evidence. There's been a lot of assurances given by Mr. Khan about learning and going forward, and of course, as I said in my main body of my submissions, we welcome any applicant in any licensing proceedings talking about that. However, I would submit it shouldn't be lost on the committee that Mr. Khan has been given clear, unequivocal advice previously about criminal activities taking place on the premises, and within a week it is still ongoing. My friend makes the point that he has no relevant or any convictions. That is entirely correct. I don't seek to go behind that. But respectfully, that is not the test here. The committee should look at everything around, and I would urge the committee to add weight to what the police say about the running of the premises and previous premises and how the criminal activity was allowed not only to take place but continue there after Mr. Khan knew it was taking place. Thank you.
Thank you for that. As we now heard from all the parties, the subcommittee will go into private session to deliberate. Members will now deliberate the application in private session, and all parties are asked to leave the room. Once we have reached our decision, you will be invited back into the meeting for the committee to present their decision. If you're unable to remain, please indicate now. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for your patience. Thank you, we do appreciate it. Whilst we deliberated and made our decision, I'll now read out the decision of the subcommittee. We have considered the application to vary a premise licence to specify an individual as designated premises supervisor, DPS, Dagenham News, 35 High Street, Doncaster, and have taken into account the written representations made and the evidence presented today, the steps that are appropriate to promote the licence objectives, the Home Office guidance and our statement of licensing policy, and have decided to reject the application. The committee heard from Mr Butler and Mr Khan in support of the application. Mr Butler informed the committee that the threshold for the police objecting to an application to vary a premise licence to specify an individual as DPS. He quoted Part 4.69 and 4.71 of the Home Office guidance issued under the Licensing Act 2003, which states that the policy may object to the designation of a new DPS where in exceptional circumstances they believe that the appointment would undermine the crime prevention objective. And the portability of personal licence between premises is an important concept under the 2003 Act. It is expected that police objections would arise in only genuinely exceptional circumstances. Mr Butler argued that the police evidence had not reached the threshold and did not compare to the example given in the guidance, i.e., for example, where a personal licence holder has been allowed by the courts to retain their licence despite convictions for selling alcohol to children, a relevant offence, and then transfers into premises known for underage drinking. Mr Butler also suggested that if the police had concerns about these premises, they could have made an application to revoke the premises licence, but chose not to. Members of the committee asked questions of Mr Butler and Mr Khan and expressed their concerns around the serious issues at the other premises where Mr Khan had been the DPS, Donny Drinks, specifically regarding the following. On the 10th of October 2023, the inspection of the premises and seizure of illicit tobacco and vapes. The 16th of October 2023, a letter sent to Mr Khan detailing the non-compliant issues, for example, single can, CCTV not working, no refusal log. On the 10th of January 2024, inspection where illicit tobacco and vapes were seized. On the 24th of July 2024, Mr Khan was interviewed under caution. He stated he was not involved in the business and could not say who was employed. Mr Khan said he would remove himself as the DPS the following day. This did not happen. And the 1st of August 2024, a failed test purchase. Mr Khan said that he had been a personal licence holder since 2007 and he had never had any issues until these incidents. He was primarily involved in the restaurant trade, so this was new to him, but he accepted responsibility and said he should have known better and done his own work. Mr. Khan was asked if he understood the role of the DPS, particularly the supervisor element. Mr. Khan said it was not about lack of supervision, but a lack of knowledge. Mr. Prethbridge, the lawyer for South Yorkshire Police, addressed the committee and confirmed that the police did consider that the incidents above did amount to exceptional reasons for rejecting the application. Mr. Prethbridge acknowledged that Mr. Khan has no convictions, but the incidents were very serious, and when Mr. Khan claimed not to have properly understood his role was to supervise effectively, he had not done this, even when he had been provided with a letter detailing non-compliance. He did not take effective responsibility. Similarly, at the interview under caution, he said he would remove himself the following day, but did not, with the premises failing a test purchase the same week. The committee were very concerned about the incidents at Donny Drinks at the time Mr. Khan was DPS. The incidents are very serious and place sufficient doubt on him to be DPS of Dagenham News. Mr. Khan did not act on advice when it was given and did not take action when he said he would. Illicit tobacco and vapes present a very serious challenge to the prevention of crime and disorder, and we do consider that the incidents amount to exceptional circumstances and believe that the appointment of Mr. Khan as DPS of Dagenham News would undermine the prevention of crime and disorder. In our view, Mr. Khan showed an apparent disregard for his role as DPS and did not take the incidents as seriously as we would expect him to. That's the decision. I'd like to thank everyone for their attendance and input at today's meeting, and I'll now declare the meeting closed. Thank you.